Pythagoras is credited with being the father of music. He is also credited as being the father of geometry and the father of mathematics. All this achieved without writing not one book. Zero, nada, nout. Now, as you know, this sounds a bit fishy to me. Someone so famous yet written no books. Now, the reason behind this, in my opinion only, as he's the father of the secret society. And, you know, basically in this video, you're going to see why. I've just like edited it all out. So in this video, I will show you the evidence. Paul, don't read out before you've read it. So one of the most secret of societies is the Pythagorean Brotherhood. And as I said before, many believe that the ideas of Pythagoras Brotherhood established the foundations for later traditions such as the Rosicrucians and the Freemasons. Candidates for the Pythagorean Brotherhood had to undergo an arduous process of initiation. They swore on the oath of the sacred triangle Tetractys, gave their worldly possessions to the Brotherhood, and took a 5-year vow of silence. Shh. Any coincidence, guys? Leave that with you. Just like my previous video, the secret, the emphasis on silence and secrecy is startling. A fool is known by his speech, and a wise man by his silence. Pythagoras. Pythagoras founded the Pythagorean Brotherhood, a religious and secretive group with around 600 members. All his number was a fundamental principle. Members consisted of two groups, the mathematicians and the listeners. Pythagoras was the leader and his followers became his disciples. If a secret was revealed, the punishment was death. Now, it's my personal opinion that Walt Disney was a Pythagorean. And it's my opinion he shows you he was one. Walt Disney shows you he was one of the Pythagoreans by making a video called Donald in Mathemagic Land. Is it from 1959, I believe. We've all seen it, a majority have. And in this, they show us the symbol.
They used to meet in secret to discuss their mathematical discoveries. Only members were allowed to attend. They had a secret emblem, the pentagram.
As you can see, Donald's showing you the mark of the Brotherhood, the pentagram. Now, the members could be identified by showing you this 5-pointed star, and they wore it on the clothes. And it just got me thinking. I know some people call it dangerous, but it is a big what if. Now anyway, today the Pythagoreans would be the actors, the musicians, the scientists, the politicians, and so-called elite. Now, what if you could identify themselves by having a star tattoo? It's just a theory. Like the lower levels members could have a star tattoo. Now you look at these tattoos that I'm showing you now. They're really, really rubbish type of thing. It's like someone's done it themselves at home or in prison. Why? Why would these so-called millionaires have a tattoo that looks as bad as this? Maybe it's part of being in the Brotherhood. It's just a theory that I've had because it ties in. If you've been really, really good, you get one of these. Now, it's just a little theory that I've had. Like I've said on the screen now, if you've behaved really well and done as you are told, you get a special star for the actors. Now, even the entrepreneurs have a walk of fame. Nothing to do with the 11 it adds up to, we'll ignore that. But here's Bill Gates one. Yeah, this is for, maybe I'll include this in another film. But as you can see, They even have the star little logo on the floor, but this one really does look like the Baphomet pentagram. Let's not ignore that Disney had, you know, a Walk of Fame star, and he had some resorts. He called them all-star resorts. So as you can see, Pythagoreans loved the pentagram. It was a symbol, the 5-pointed star. How many star resorts would he have? Oh no, he had 5 too. The movies, the music, the sports, the arts of animation, and the pop century. So the guy who was in the Brotherhood, and the logo is 5-pointed star, they have 5-star resorts. That cannot be a coincidence. Because I was thinking about the star and the pentagram, I automatically thought of the, you know, of United States flag, because it has the little mini pentagrams representing the states on it. But just look, 9 rows, 11 columns. That adds to, you got it, 11, what I always talk about. And that just like, whoa. But you know me, I had to dig a little deeper. 9 rows, 11 columns, and 13 stripes. That is 9, 11, 13, Lemuria, the festival of the dead. And that adds up to, you got it, 33. So I just had to put this in as a little side thing, just because I was like, whoa, how could I get this in? So I'm just putting it in because I just thought it was cool, and obviously linked to the star that I'm talking about in the pentagram. And as we know, Disney has the 33, you know, the Club 33. So actually, you know, it does all nicely tie together. And also Disney does have the new platform now, Star, on Disney Plus. So it's just all a little coincidence, but I just thought, whoa, the Festival of the Dead fits in with the United States flag. And obviously those dates, 9, 11 and 13, obviously tie into 9/11 as well. 9/11 obviously the date, and on the 13th they allowed planes to fly again in the skies, all adding to the 33 and obviously your flag. So I mentioned the Tetractys before a little bit, not really too much, and as we know, it's a sacred Pythagorean symbol. So I actually want to look into that a little bit, because there's various things banding around about that. Now what's interesting is it's another triangle, a pyramid, and that's a sign of divinity. But for you people who like bowling, I've been basically worshipping the Tetractys since you've been playing 10-pin bowling, because as you know, it's set out in pins of 10. So you've actually been worshipping the Tetractys while you've been playing bowling. Just thought I'd share that with you. Right guys, I'm not going to read all this out because we'll be here for days. And what I'm talking about now is the Tetractys, or Tetractys. And obviously, according to Pythagoras, it was basically the universe. So I'll briefly talk about it and what they are, and then I'll put some information and I'll leave it in the description. Then you can look at your leisure. So a very ancient belief started that the universe is a result of an interaction between the 4 or sometimes 5 elements. And I'll put you a picture on the screen now of the elements in regard to Pythagoras. I'll be talking about that after this segment. But what the ancient Greek philosophers wanted to know was which of these elements was the arch, or the arc. But it's with an E, it's spelled A-R-C-H-E. So it's like arche. Who's the god of arches? I just had to put that there. I could not see that and not say anything. And anyway, the arch, or the arche, is the first and the origin of everything. Thales, another philosopher mathematician, believed that it was the water. Anaximenes, he thought it was the air, but Pythagoras had something different. His idea was that it was proclaimed all things are number. So, you know, he's one of the first guys that come up with everything is a number. And you could say it's binary or anything like that, but that's what Pythagoras said. So Pythagoras had a simple and elegant manner of explaining this theory, and this is why the Tetractys is one of the holiest revered symbols, which is obviously the pyramid. He would draw a figure that became known as the Tetractys, a sacred symbol for many centuries to follow. It is an equilateral triangle made out of 10 dots, arranged in 4 rows. Each row and each dot carried different symbolism. And they go even by different names depending on what really you're looking to. But you have the top number 1 dot is the monad, or sometimes it's known as unity. You have the 2 dots underneath. The next row is jihad. Sounds like jihad, doesn't it? And that means power. And then you have the triad, which is obviously 3 dots, which is also known as harmony. And then you had the tetrad, which is also known as the cosmos. So you have different beliefs, different names, and you even have a Vedic form of this. And that's why it's crazy when you want to look into this, because different religions will have different symbolism on this. And I'll quickly read a little bit out on each one, just so you can get a little flavour. The 4 rows symbolise the 4 stages of creation. The first dot is the monad, represents the creator, the cause. Pythagoreans use many epithets to describe it. The first, the seed, the essence, the architect, the foundation, everything that is, was, and created from it, contained inside of it. And that's obviously the first one. And they quickly go on and says, if we add one number to an even number, the result is always an odd number. And if we add 1 to an odd number, the result is an even number. For Pythagoreans, this would prove that number 1 is 2-gendered. Now, here's a word I hardly pronounce right. Hermaphrodite. They describe the odd numbers as males and the even numbers as female. The 2-gendered nature of number 1 proves that besides being limitless, the creator is capable of self-reproduction. The same idea exists in Ubros symbol, much older than Pythagoras. We know who we're talking about in Ubros is, Janos. So you can see how these two interact, and it's really interesting. But like I said, there is a lot of information, and that's why I'm not going to read it all out. And they also talk about monad is not discussed as it cannot be comprehended by the means of rational thinking. And they also refer that to as, remember the symbol, the circumpunct, the circle in the dots. That is also associated with the top 2. So you can see how you have very much different opinions and theories and different symbolism in regard to each dot and row. The dyad, D-Y-A-D, not to be mistaken with Jed from Egyptian, but whether it's based on the same, who knows? It could well be, because it means power, remember. The rationality begins with the dyad. The second row in his face, the light separates from darkness, male from female, active from passive. The word dyad as well as number 2 are related to the meanings of God and light in most languages. Dyad is related to the separation of the opposites, the darkness and the light, and in later mysticism, usually represented by the 2 pillars. 2 pillars? What number is that? Oh yes, 11. So you can just see how these things interact and go in with each other. And they also say about another reason that the dyad is comprehensible is that the 2 dots form a line and therefore the first dimension in space. So you can just see, like again, how many different things there is to come from this. You also have a Kabbalah version too. The triad, Pythagoras believed that the laws of Tetractys are applicable to the whole of creation. From astronomy to music, he believed that the movement of the planets create music of the spheres. This is a sound we're not able to hear, even though its melody affects us. He used a 1-string instrument known as a monochord to develop this theory further. By doing so, he discovered the musical intervals that we still use to this day, and which are simply the ratios between the rows of the Tetractys: 4 and 3, perfect 4th, 3 and 2, perfect 5th, 2 and 1, octave, and 1 and 1, unison. So a string of a monochord stretched between 2 points would represent the dyad, but in order to hear its sound, we need to make it vibrate. By doing so, we are determining the 3rd point, the one which is not clearly defined, as the sound of the strings will always be the same no matter where it is touched. For Pythagoreans, this was a mystical triad. It represented in the 3rd row of the Tetractys. They believed that the number 3 represents the spirit, motion, light and sound and vibration and time. It is a force that brings back the harmony between the 2 opposites, describing the nature of their interaction in the process. And we have the tetrad. The final row of 4 dots represents the 3-dimensional world in its materialistic form. Number 4 relates to the 4 elements, 4 cardinal directions, 4 seasons, etc. And just as the sound of an opening string represents the Trinity, the pressed string represents the material realm. If we press in the middle, 2 and 1, we get the octave, the most natural interval. It is a sound that is the same as that of the string, but 1 octave higher. The symbol for the octave is a dot in a circle, circumpunct, the name of the Pythagorean monad. In alchemy, this symbol represents gold and the accomplishment of the great work. So in this way, the 4 lines of the Tetractys depict the music of the spheres, and since there are 12 intervals and 7 notes in music, it is not hard to see how the idea would relate further to astronomy. So you can see how interesting this is, and I didn't want to talk about too much because I like you guys to actually look into it and see what opinion you form of it. I'll put the links to what I've read out because there's a lot more on it, but there's a lot more to get through, and I didn't want to just bam, full read on 20 minutes about the Tetractys. But you can get from it and why it is holy and revered to Pythagoreans and secret societies today. Another fact that cannot be a coincidence is the angles used in the Tetractys. Each side equates to, have a guess, no, not 11 guys, but 60-degree angle. So obviously it has three of them, so it would be 60, 60, 60, or equates to 666. All 3 sides 666. That cannot be a coincidence. It looks to me intentionally done. See what you guys think. So we have the Tetractys on the screen, and the image that you can see with the monad highlighted basically took away. What image is that identical to? I'll give you a few seconds. It's startling when you see it. It's like, yeah, it's so obvious. Right guys, what you're seeing on screen for me is this. It's the pyramid, the all-seeing eye of the $1 bill. 100% for me. We'll see what you guys think. But also what's interesting me is the fact that this, what I'm highlighting here, the number 1 behind the letters 1. Well, if you take the 1 and put it next to the O, it's basically 10. Well, how many numbers is in the Tetractys? It's 10. So it's done in our faces. Yet again, the Tetractys, the all-seeing eye, the pyramid, and the 10 on the $1 bill. Now we've seen this symbolism thrown around and people talk about the all-seeing eye, the hidden eye, all that malarkey. Now what if this, like the other symbolism that I have shown and will show, could this be the Tetractys and obviously linked to the Pythagorean Brotherhood? Because think about it, there's a Disney Mickey there, and then you got Jay-Z and then a few other, if they are just normal people, I just don't know. But could that image actually be resembling and showing the Tetractys but highlighting the monad, basically like the all-seeing eye in the pyramid? For me, I think this is a possibility. Wonder what you guys think. So the pentagram was sacred to Pythagoreans, we've seen that so far. And we can see it now, and they're supposed to be labelled as the 5 elements. Now what got me when I saw this at the time was I was doing a video a while ago called the Great Vowel Shift. I've renamed it now the Babel Effect, and if you've not saw it, please take a look. You'd be wowed at some of the information. It's the biggest reset that people don't actually know exists. Now as you can see, the elements there, for me, my personal opinion is they are the vowels. Now I'll just put the vowels underneath, and here you go. There is not much difference between them and the vowels. People say, oh well, it's a Y, not a U, Paul. Well, U used to be a Y, a Y used to be a U, sorry, the wrong way around. And the only thing here is the weird U at the end. You're talking a little line for it to be an O. So personally, I believe they are the vowels. Now vowels are referred to as the vow to God. It's in Egypt where Pythagoras travelled, according to history, so we have to take it as a pinch of salt. Is they used to chant, they used to have a sacred chant that they used to aid to heal people. Now it's believed these were the 7 vowels. Now is Pythagoras just using 5 of the vowels? I just don't know. Is the other vowels something that is sacred and hidden? Because as we know from various videos that I've not long done, the power of the voice, the vocal cords, they want to stop that. They want to make us all quiet. They don't want to use the power of the god. So if Pythagoras could heal people with his voice, according to other philosophers at the time, and a sacred chant which he learned from obviously going to Egypt, Mesopotamia, Babylonia, whatever you want to call it, I just found it's intriguing. And then when you tie this into the research that I have, which actually personally blew me away, was that secret societies actually show the vowels in the hand gestures, the hand symbolism, and that is why I'm putting these all together, because I believe they're showing you, hidden in plain sight, mocking us, that they know the secret cantations to heal with the voice. Just, you know, I'm putting it out there. Let's see if you now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to play the old video clip that I'm talking about now. Right guys, what you have here are some celebrities, people in power, doing the horn gesture, we can all agree, and this is where I stumbled on it. I just looked really deep into it. So as you can see, doing the horns, here's them from the cartoons that I showed you earlier. But if you look into the horns, and I'm talking about the A-E-I-O-U, look at the etymology, and I thought, I remember, if you turn the A around upside down, you'll have a good sense of the original shape and meaning. When it was introduced around 1800 BC, resembling an animal's head, which antlers or horns, the original meaning of the letter in ancient Semitic was ox, or like I just said, a horns, and that is for the letter A. So you can see my point, guys. Freemasons, Masonic hand gestures, doing the horn symbol, and it's the letter A. So what you're seeing there above is hailing of distress. That's what they do when they're in distress. But there's various forms of it. As you can see, the next one is grand hailing salam. The sign is given by facing the Orient, leaning forward as if making a low bow, arms raised and extended palms out. And I don't, like I said, here you have it in some cartoons, so it could be, so yeah, Paul, you might be right. It's just my opinion, this, guys. As you can see, arms out, raising. It's like a rejoice type of symbol. As you can see in the Disney films, now we go on to celebrities doing the same. You can find so many doing it, and it could be what I'm saying, or it couldn't be, but you'll understand where I'm going from with this. It's just blown me away. So this is just a picture that I found to actually describe what we're actually seeing, and this is the E of 3,800 years ago, pronounced he in Semitic, resembling a stick with two arms and a leg meant to signify a human form. The Greeks flipped it around in 700 BC and it changed to the sound eh. But as you can see in number 1 and number 2, it's the rejoice symbol that I'm showing you. A-E-I-O-U, I've done A, and now we have E. 2 so far Freemonic symbols and gestures linking to the great Vowel shift. Am I onto something yet, guys? So as you can see, the hidden hand, or the sign of the master of the second veil, as it says. But so far, the etymology of these words and symbols are A-E. What are we up to now? The hidden hand. As you can see, throughout history, world leaders, celebrities, as you can see here, the Beatles, doing the hidden hand. And then obviously we have Disney doing the hidden hand, as I showed you before. But the actual word, around 1000 BC, the letter I was yod, meaning arm or hand. The Greeks adopted the letter as iota, changing it to a vertical squiggle by 700 BC. I became the straight line we use today. So now we're on I. So far the etymology of A-E-I and possibly O and U, if I can find it, are all towards secret society hand symbols. Or could it be just a coincidence? Right guys, so we have the I symbolism here, and so far in the vowels we've had A, E, I, and we're on to O. O, well here we go guys, I'll show you. So all the different I symbolism that you can see, from celebrities to people in power. It's so deep, this. People call it the Eye of Horus, the Eye of Providence. I mean, we even have the black eye. As you can see, Disney do the same with a triangle or just eye imagery in their cartoons and in their obviously normal production like series that they have. And as you can see here, the all seeing eye on, or Big Brother on the t-shirts. But the eye actually is O, because it starts its life in the Egyptian hieroglyph around the time of M and N as an eye. Semites called it ayin, but with a guttural sound that sounds like ch. I think the Hebrew name kem. The Phoenicians reduced the I to just the outline of the pupil. O. So the I, as you can see, the pupil in the eye is actually the letter O. So we have now O out the great vowel shift. And what were you saying to this, guys? I've done A, E, I and O, and both the Masonic and Freemasonry secret societies all do it. So now this is wowing me. Right, guys, this is the Y symbol, and as you can see, they quite clearly do it in front of our faces. Not to be mistaken for the I love you, the sign language or the horns, because I believe they did that one intentionally. But I believe it derives from a few things. There's an ancient symbol that's been in this realm for seemed forever, the IYI. I've covered it so many times in my videos. You can see it. It's here, right in plain sight at the Vatican on the Holy Door. Janus. But anyway, back to the Masonic. You can see they just love this Y. And obviously, you know, I'm doing the great vowel shift in this, A-Y-I-O-U, and this is the letter for U. It was originally a Y. So even Pythagoras had the Y philosophy. This is why it's so huge and connects everything. Here you can see presidents, celebrities doing the Y. Not the horns, because the thumb is in. This is just obviously my interpretation from my research and separates the two differently. Obviously it's up to you guys to believe it or not, but I believe I'm on the right track, but that's just my opinion. As you can see, it appears in Disney's cartoons too. See, the thumb in, doing the Y. Alice in Wonderland, doing the Y. And it basically, there's a lot of confusion among the letters U, the V and W. According to Rosen, the Phoenicians began using a letter that looked like the Y around 1000 BC. They called it War, meaning peg. The Greeks adopted this in 700 BC and called it Upsilon. But as you can quite see, it's the Y, but it's representing the U. So now, here's the U. So to round up what you just saw that the etymology, each of one of these letters and symbols and symbolism of Masonic fraternities, celebrities and whatnot. A was the ox or the horns. They do that with the hands. The E was the person or image standing up with the arms raised up. I was the hand, the hidden hand. The O was hand over the eye in reference to the eye, and U was the Y. And I'm just blown away, guys. And make of it what you wish. Coincidence, but these secret societies have been here forever, and we're talking about the A-E-I-O-U and the reverence of these vowels. And I've just pinpointed it to Masonic hand symbols. I'm blown away. So this section is about the Pythagorean Y and how deep that goes. It really is a deep topic. I've made a lot of videos on it. I should put them on the new channel and I'll have to get around to that. But as you know, Janus is pronounced Janos. Janos is Janus. And as you can see in number 11, equates in gematria, it is him. Now in popular at the minute, it's the last man. It's about all the men on the planet, the Y chromosome, anything with the Y gets destroyed. It's all about the Y. The flux capacitor takes you back in time, all about the Y. AI in Skynet, in Terminator, all about the Y. There's so many, it's so deep, this Y is unbelievable, and once you see it, you see it. Janus holding the Y. As you can see, this thing here used to work or still works for the Y. Obviously the National Institute Infectious Diseases is all about the Y. The Pythagoreans talk about it being the path. It's known as the Furka. It's also a medieval symbol for the Trinity, and it's about good and evil. It's even tied to the Godhead. It is a very interesting topic, is the Y, because it moves over to so many topics. It's an earliest symbol for a divine. It's just fascinating why people don't research in it. And obviously these talk about in Christian texts, for they say the course of human life resembles the letter Y, because every one of men, when he has reached the threshold of early youth, has arrived at the place where the way divides itself into two parts. He is in doubt and hesitates and does not know to which side he should rather turn to himself. So talking about the path in life, the Pythagorean Y, the struggle between good and evil, but also connects to more than just Janos and Janis, whatever you want to pronounce it, and the forking of the paths good and evil. It's also got to do with the antenna in the head that I've talked about so long, even the bicameral mind. It's a Y. It's the squatter man, because that is the IYI, the two pillars. In Turkey, it's a very ancient symbol, as you can see. The IYI, they even have it as a party political, emblem. The Vatican, the Holy Door, has the IYI on, and no one ever knows because it's right there. It's Jesus on the cross, and it's the Furka symbol. The Y of Pythagoras. Pythagoras, his fourth letter, does of human life a scheme us to purpose. For virtue's path on the right hand doth lie, and hard ascent presenting to the eye. But on the top, with rest the wearied are, refreshed the broad way easier doth appear. But from its summit the deluded fall, and dashed among the rocks find them a funeral. So it was noticed by Pythagoras that the Greek letter Y, or upsilon, resembled a forked path. To the cognoscenti, therefore, such a simple symbol became laden with hidden meanings. Effectively, the two paths of the Y represent earthly wisdom to the left, the vice, and the divine wisdom to the right, the virtue. The traveller must choose which path he should take when he meets the point of convergence, which symbolises adulthood. An important concept in classical philosophy was that of free will to make choices, and the Pythagoras Y symbolises its concept perfectly. In the Middle Ages, this type of cross, also called the forked cross or the Furka, was a sign of a thief, because it also represented the forked tongue of the serpent, and I'll put an image on that now. So it's really deep about this. It means so much, but it's also hidden, like it's saying. It's hiding. The Y is actually hiding the IYI in it too. And you can see from one of the images in medieval times of the Y, it's holding the IYI in it. So the Y, Janos, is surrounded by two pillars, the number 11, that I keep showing people, and I will keep showing people because the topic is just intriguing to me. It's opened up so many doors, and I'm just glad you guys are here for the ride with me. So the Brotherhood were the musicians, the philosophers, the astrologers, basically science, and obviously the actors, the politicians, you name it, is what I was talking about before. So UNESCO, as you can see, the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organisation, would in theory be a rebrand of the Brotherhood. I mean, they have a Greco-Roman style logo. Well, here's an image inside the UNESCO, the United Nations Educational, all that malarkey. Have a guess what the headquarters shape of the building is. Come on guys, this is just like too much for me. Yeah, you got it. It's shaped like a Y. Could it be that it's a coincidence? Yes, it could be. Or could it be the fact that they're paying homage to the Y from the Pythagorean and all what I'm showing? It's intriguing, isn't it? Now, Walt Disney is also connected to the Brotherhood, as I've said, but also connected to the Y. And what I'm going to show you now is some images or a clip from an old video showing you why he's connected to the Y. So obviously Chicago is famous for the World's Fair, the actual Columbian Exposition of 1893. They actually had a fire while it was up, and it destroyed a lot of buildings, killed about 16 people, I believe. So they didn't waste no time. So obviously that is where Walt Disney was born, Chicago. So I can't remember exact lifespan of some of these buildings. I know some of them did stay up, but majority of them were temporary, which is a joke, isn't it? but he would have been aware of the Great World's Fair. He was born in 1901. Walt Disney was. Yep, that adds to 11. Nothing in that. And he died roughly when he was about, I think it was about 65. And if that's the case, that's another 11. Anyway, as we know, Chicago has some beautiful architecture itself in the city. I'm just showing you a few images of them. Obviously, some of them got took down or repurposed, but he still was brought up with this type of era of architecture. But what's interesting about Chicago is that in 1917, they changed the logo of the city to a Y. Now, yes, some will say it was because of the river, but I think it's more than that. But just look at it, the Y. So this guy joined the Brotherhood, the Pythagoreans, which the Y is revered. And the town he actually was born in has the Y everywhere. Tell me that ain't a coincidence. I believe, sometimes there is a coincidence. I know people don't believe in it, and sometimes they say coincidence, the universe is not that messy, but some things happen. But on this scale, I just believe there's something in this Y, and the reason why they state he was born in Chicago was all about this Y. So these examples I'm showing you are not to be mistaken for the Brotherhood. These are just showing you that, yeah, these names are out there, these fraternities are out there. These guys are called Knights of Pythias. Now, these are named after someone who was actually in the Brotherhood. And what's interesting with these is they got basically chartered and able to be basically founded on certain sites by President Lincoln himself. So that just shows you how high up this has gone. These guys have also let in an ancient order of Hercules, which I have never even heard of, and that's just a newspaper article that I found just researching for the video. But there definitely is a fraternity called Knights of Pythagoras, or known as COP. These guys are all over the states, just like the Knights of Pythias. But these are not the same guys that I'm talking about in this video, but I just wanted to show, yep, there is names, there is societies called Pythagoras out there and linked to Pythagoras. Pythagoreanism and Gnosticism, like the Cathars, Pythagoreans believed that the divine soul was trapped in a corrupt material world, and that their ultimate goal was to break the cycle of reincarnation and return to the celestial realm. They also practiced asceticism and vegetarianism and initiated women. Catharism probably wasn't a direct descendant of Pythagoreanism, but they did share a common root in Gnosticism. Gnosticism is more philosophy than religion or cult. There's a pagan, Christian, even Jewish and Islamic. Gnosticism holds that the key to enlightenment and salvation is knowledge, gnosis, rather than faith or grace. Illumination allows one to achieve union with the true divine through the realization of one's own divine nature. Although this isn't exactly what Cathars believe, but you can see the similarities. Now, what have I been talking about in the Great Vowel Shift and different things, which is slightly based on that these guys are trying to trap us, change the vowels, change how we speak those vowels in the mouth, in using the tongue, and keep us trapped, keep us reincarnate. Especially what he just said in that little article I just shared with you. It's just, I'm just loving this, and it's just mind blowing me, the information I'm finding and just connecting with my little theory on this. So this is how modern interpret knowledge, know, edge, facts, information, skills acquired by a person through experience or education. Now, most of the people know that knowledge comes from Gnosticism, and I'll briefly describe that here now. So, what is Gnosticism? At the most basic level, the terms Gnostic and Gnosticism refer to the belief that is rooted in special knowledge. The term gnosis is where we get the English word, the word knowledge from. Gnosticism is a broader sense about a religious view based on a claim about knowledge. That is what Gnosticism is. Gnosticism. Oh my god, tongue twister. But I want to split it up. I want to do what I do best. Look for alternate ways, spell etymology into words. And what's coming up now absolutely blows my mind and tells me what I've been saying all along. The rabbit hole is Janice. Yes guys, you heard that right. knowledge is Janus. Now just listen to this. Gnost, I'll split it up, remember. Gnost is an energy that has not been used in eons of time. And as Gnost comes in, it bridges the divine and the human. And as a creator, you allow Gnost to flow in. Instead of being bound and restricted by problems and challenges, you simply allow Gnost to come in to present the clear and open the solution. That is Gnost. So obviously instead of knowledge, I've done Gnost, right? So you can quite see it there. It's talking about the flow of knowledge and the creator allowing you to flow in. Isn't that beautiful? For me, it really is blowing my mind. And wait to see what ledge is. Honestly, it's like you can't make this up, and it's just coming up right now. But as I'm saying, guys, the rabbit hole, when we say we're falling into the rabbit hole and you're looking for new topics, it's a flow of knowledge. You're looking around for knowledge, aren't you? Basically, new topics, new things to go wow at. It's one half of knowledge, which is Gnost. So ledge, Middle English, denoting a strip of wood or other material fixed across a door, a gate, etc. Perhaps from the early form of ledge, sense one, dates from the mid 16th century, the Great Vowel Shift period. But what was that? The ledge is fixed across a door or a gate. Who is the god of doorways, gateways, portals? So knowledge could be Gnost, ledge, knowledge, and it gives you that type of information. I, for one, am absolutely blown away, and just making this video, finding this out, is worth the hours that I've put in. So knowledge is basically talking about how the flow of information, the flow of light, the flow of knowledge, information, binary, whatever you want to call it, knowledge is the flow, and it's basically, as it said here, in my eyes, pointing to the direction of knowledge. The rabbit hole is Janus. Wow.
Yeah, they call me the black sheep. You know they call me the black sheep. I'm running wild while you're asleep. That's why they call me the black sheep.
Hello and welcome. Welcome to anyone that's new for the first time. Hopefully the guys in the chat and myself are making you feel welcomed. I pride myself having some brilliant people in the chat who make anyone feel welcome for the first time. If anyone's thinking about coming in and they always watch and don't comment, thank you. I still support, I'm still glad of your support. It means a lot. Just because you don't comment doesn't mean it's not, appreciate it a lot. So back to this video. I originally made a video last year before, maybe 2 years ago now. It's on the Backsheet Researcher Odyssey if you actually want to watch it. It's a bit longer, talks about different things, includes some of the posts, and I've never been attacked by trolls as much in my life as I did that video. Some of the long people that's been with me from the beginning, like Ginger Grin, Steve Wheatley, and all the good guys will remember that video. And this is basically on that, and I've just picked a few of the bits. I've put more stuff in this because obviously we're always learning, and that's what I want to be. I want you guys to... Why does something come up on the screen? Install now. Decline. Oh, things always move. It doesn't matter if you go backwards, sideways, it doesn't matter. As long as you keep moving, keep journeying down that path, taking a different path as you can, when you can. Sometimes just jumping off the path. Life is all about learning and so much more, and I just want to learn as much as I can and expose what I can from my perspective, because everything is perspective at the end of the day. The truth is personal, and I used to know I mention that a lot, guys, but it means a lot, because people don't realise the truth is why people get triggered, because you're going against their truth, their belief, and people can't handle it. They're still under a spell. They don't realise just because you're looking into the truth community that you're not still under the spell. We're all under the spell, because we're bombarded daily, and most of us just able to understand that we're under that, and we don't get as much triggered. So I do a video, by gum. People can't even understand me as it is. I don't know. You watch my videos and you can understand me. What's the world coming to, eh? I just get excited and I talk a lot. I do have a speech impediment. I am obviously dyslexic, and I still want to contribute. I still want to make videos and be inspiration for people who are like me, or even worse. That doesn't matter what you do in life. You're always going to get idiots that want to put you down. And remember, guys, and I fear this sometimes, people only want to put you down if they're jealous. Because if you're insignificant means it doesn't matter. So if I don't matter, why are these hello haters give me thumbs down? Because I matter. They if people want to sit in the corner of the room drooling, let them do it. Let them hate. I'm not about that. I'm not about being positive as much as you can, having a laugh in life, looking at all topics, no matter what the community or society say is acceptable. I don't want no boundaries. I want to look at something and think, you know what, I see something else, and then you think, well, if I say that, well, and that's how I originally came to be what I was. I used to love to theorise, and I used to get called, you get trolled, oh, you're a black sheep, you're not even a normal sheep, because thinking on your own is going against God. I'm like, okay, you know what I mean? So you can see society as it is. We're fighting ourselves. And when I look at this video I'm doing, it is not, I'm going to show you definitive proof of the Brotherhood of Pythagoreans. I'm just showing you stuff from my perspective that I found cool and interesting. Yes, you might not get it, which is acceptable. Because even though I try and be objective in videos, I'm still putting things together how I feel. It's very hard to think, how will your blogs like this? Will you understand this? Sometimes people just don't get it, and that's no fault of their own. We all see different, and this is what I love. I love making this video, and you guys at the end thinking, you know what? He's made me think. And at the end of the day, that is all I can ask and all I hope for, that I make people think and wanting to think differently from the herd, because there's too many people following, oh, well, I've got 50,000, I've got 100,000 subscribers, I am God, I am right. None of us are. The more you learn, the more you actually realise how much you do not know. And I know not enough. And we just have to laugh. The humour out of the community's gone. We need to have a laugh. We need to put fun at ourselves. And just enjoy learning something new every day. And this is an old video, but refreshed, talking about a secret society known as the Brotherhood of the Pythagoreans, or the Pythagorean Brotherhood. There isn't societies out there now, fraternities with those names, but it's not the ones I'm talking about. These are the guys that's hidden, and if you were actually revealed or spoke to anyone that you were in this brotherhood, it's a pain of death. And that must have been a lot, considering these guys were supposed to be vegan and anti-animal and not wanting to hurt even plant life. So you can see how significant it is and why they were also hated. Because they were a society of what society called critical thinkers. Sometimes they will be labelled as witchcraft or whatever, you know, because people have different opinions, and people are always quick to attack something they do not know because, oh, it's this and they've told me to do this. So this is a secret society by a guy who's written 0 books. 0, nout, nada. How do we know he even exists? And that's the point I raised in the video. We don't. We only know this person exists for the influence and his name has been used. Does that mean he existed? No. Because they can say, oh, this belongs to, because he said so. It's still a spell. It still has significance and it still matters. It's still part of the rite, the ritual. Pythagoras written no books, yet his oral tradition of what he taught spans time. He talks about the why philosophy that I've talked about in the video, about the good, evil, the choices of people taking their lives. I've talked about the why a lot because we have the why in our brains, the antenna I call. It oscillates. It picks up frequency keys. The more keys we have, the more doors we can open. Remember, we are doors. And when you have the door open, you let more light in. Light is information, light is knowledge. And if whoever controls the flow controls the people. And that is why they gatekeep and why they shut doors. Because they want to control the flow. So you have a guy there with the why philosophy, and the why philosophy ranges so much because you got the IYI, you also got Janus and Janos. Janus is Janus. You have to pronounce it with a Y, not a J. But the J was brought in the great Vowel shift. But the Pythagoreans talk about the vowels and how Pythagoras used that to heal people. Well, there were 7 vowels at the time, now we only have 5. So they cut 2 away that we actually know of. Could have been more than 7. Frequencies can heal. People talk about organs and the music in churches using for heal and other devices. We know also sound can kill. It can levitate. It can create light. It can do so much. So if you had a sacred chant of vowels, the vows to God, the vocal chords, using the power of God, the wonders that we could do. Is that why these secret societies have a vow of secrecy? Because they know the power of the vocal chords. And that secret society had a 5-year of silence. Obviously in these day and age it's very hard to do a 5-year silence in the modern era. But that's what I was thinking. Things just get reinvented. Is it the sake of this Pythagorean Brotherhood had the pentagram on the clothing or whatever it said at the time. And now they have the star tattoos on wrists, on the back of their heads, behind their ears. Is that showing the symbolism that if these are millionaires, why they're having tattoos done by someone out of a crack den? Isn't it? It's like, I could do better than that. So these must be part of the ritual. Now remember, there was listeners and there was talkers and so they had different formats. And the politicians, they had mathematicians, they had singers, musicians, and that was critical to them. And that is why the Y, in my opinion, is being used as the headquarters for UNESCO, and that is in reference to science and education. Could be the modern equivalent of the headquarters of Pythagorean and the Brotherhood. These questions are just what ifs. These are not meant to be taken as fact. I don't say that because I'm always learning myself, and I'll contradict myself because that's a part of the learning process. One week I'll say it's this, I'll learn some new information and I'll change my mind. That's the beauty of learning. And people who've watched me for a few years and me know I'm always changing and trying to evolve and amalgamating all my videos into one and to put something new out. Like I say, I just want to make you guys think. Watch my videos. Firstly, say, yeah, that's Paul. That's his own flair. That's how he makes it. But boy, he's made me think. Maybe I not agreed with most of what he said, or even I could understand. But what I did understand, I can see his point. Yeah, I've made you think, and that's what I want. I want to promote thinking critically and differently, not just for different sake. Because we should be encouraged. If I see something and you see it differently, I want you to be promoted to say what the difference is, because then we can meet somewhere in the middle, or it might help my theory. And that's why I always put a few videos together, like the vowels. Pythagoras talks about them being obviously using them to heal, because he went on his travels to Mesopotamia, Sumeria, whatever you want to call it, Egypt, and they got it from the Orient. Well, at that time there was a four great river valley civilizations, and it was Egypt, it was Sumeria, it was Hindu, and it was Yellow River. They were the 4 big ones. And I always made to talk about how those 4 rivers matched the 4 frequencies, because at that time, and until 1970s or 50s, we only used to have 4 brainwaves accredited. And I've been stating for years that them 4 brainwaves are the SWAT sticker, and that's creation. And also a frequency of an enlightenment. When you get them 4 frequencies in harmony, you can do wondrous things. Just like them, they attach the vowels to chants the healing. Is that a name of a god? Or is it just one of the keys that open the doors? Who knows? But that is why I always say in all videos that all these secret symbols, symbolisms, you know, where they touch the eye, or they put the hand in the pocket, or they do this, or they do that, they do the Y, they do the horns, is representing the great vowels. And they taught that words are power and words are spells, and they are powerful. So if you know the secret incantations, you can do so much more. We don't, because they did the great vowel shift, the Babel effect. They wiped out how we spoke and created more division in regard to the English language. So that's why they always promote now and try and make everyone learn English, Anglish, the nightmare language, succubus, basically. So we have an online dictionary. So when we're using the not voodoo doll, the Ouija board, which is our computers, moving the cursors, we can understand the negative spells. Because when you think, you're manifesting it inside, and sometimes the body doesn't understand or recognise the difference between someone saying it and you actually believing it. You might say, I'm taking no notice of that, and laugh it off, but your subconscious is actually basically translated that spell into a negative word, and it's floating about. So that's why I just don't understand how any truther can be negative to another truther. Yes, you don't get on with people, and you might have your other beliefs, but bloody hell, we know spells, words are spells, and that's why they call it spelling, and it have a negative effect. Yet you're calling people and you're being negative, you're threatening, you're showing them abuse, you're cursing them. You're doing the work for them. If you don't like someone and they're insignificant, don't watch, don't look, don't follow. Put them to one side and move on. Move on. That's why I don't get it. And to my haters, why take your time to give me a negative down, thumbs down? What's the point? You're a truther. You should know better. You're doing their work for them. Put whatever affiliations you have or being political to one side. Go and do your own content and make the world a better place. Stop trolling people. I just don't know why people do it. It just, I know a lot of it is algorithms, but there is idiots out there who think, you know what, I'm trolling people. We need to get away from this. We're in a war and we have to put our differences to one side. I know some certain things can't be put to one side, but you still then don't. It's like there's a pool of sharks or a pool of crocodiles. Why jump in if you know you're going to get bit? Do you know what I mean? You just don't. Just leave it. Go and jump and swim somewhere else that's beautiful. You know, I just don't get it, and I never will. But back to the video. So we have all these symbolism that these secret societies do, and I believe they are the vowels. And the vowels are also associated with the, what would they call now? The elements. And they were attached to the pentagram. I thought that was cool and interesting, especially when it got me thinking about the stars. And then we looked at the Star Spangled Banner, 9 rows, 11, 13, that's the 33. It's actually the Festival of Dead in Lemuria, where they try and banish demons and cast out bad energy. And that's on the flag of the United States. That's a wow. And obviously it's tied to 9/11 too, and the 11. It's just wow, isn't it, when we find things like this? And then we have the Tetractys, which is one of the other revered symbols from Pythagoreans. Could that be the all-seeing eye? Or when they do the triangle symbolism near the eye. I've showed you recently how I believe when they do it to the throat, that is to the triangle, the pyramid in the throat, the vocal cord, divinity. They do it when they sit down, the divinity in the sacrum, the sacred area. And could that triangle be the Tetractys, the monad, like the Godhead? it's just a thought and an idea that I just like to think differently. Like I say, I like you guys going away thinking, yep, that's Paul, and he's made me think. That is all I ask. I mean, we have all these coincidences that are not coincidences in regard to Pythagoras, the things he promotes, the Tetractys, the pyramid, the all-seeing eye, it appears on the dollar bill. We have the why philosophy that appears everywhere now. We have a why in the brain. I've done there's so many whys that even in Nordic, is it algis or elgis, which is life, and then death is the opposite, and both together it's the Wendy horn, and that actually appears on top of the Georgia Guidestones. So it's all connected somehow, and for some reason Janos, Pythagoras are all connected. And it just intrigues me that there's secret societies out there that we don't even know. I didn't even heard of the Order of the Hercules. There's so many things out there that we just don't know. And when we don't know, that is a secret society. It says in the name, it's a secret. When we find out and expose it, then fraternities. So are these things actually there? Or it could have been me making up. It could quite be. But from a guy who had no books, his name is still spoke. For a reason. They are promoting it. It's a spell. It's a part of the indoctrination, casting of that. Pythagoras did this, Pythagoras did that. He's a father of this, he's a father of that. And we still use his rituals today. I mean, the guy, I did talk about, for instance, he was an Olympic boxer. So, he could handle himself according to history. And again, we have to take history as a pinch of salt, because it's all perspective and someone's wrote that. And we have the bicameral mind, is that people in that era supposedly were listening to voices of God. Again, another theory and a what if. But, this is there just to dampen these actual things or actually shed light on it. And then when we shed light on things, we're opening up the doors. They want all the doors closed. They want to gatekeep those doors. They don't want the light, the creation, the source creation, the light, the information to reach us. They don't want that. And we do our best to help them. We're here to learn, and we're here to learn as much information as we can. That's what I want to do, but you might not want to. But I've still got the respect for what you want to do, and people should have the respect like that. You don't have to like them. I respect that opinion. I'll move on because they don't, they're not resonating with me. So when I originally did a video, like I say, I got loads of trolls, the biggest I've ever had, because I hit a spot. Is it because I mentioned the name? Tying it all in with the Y philosophy. And is the Y philosophy tied into the chromosome Y? We have the last man. The last man. Everything on the planet. I've not watched them all, so I can't say if they actually reveal what the cause was, but anything with an Y chromosome was basically just drop dead. That actually appears over here on the Disney Channel under Star. And even animals died. And it was just, the females, it was left, and just one guy with obviously the Y chromosome. I've not watched the rest of it. I've only watched a couple of episodes, so I don't know what it gets revealed. But we have that. We have the flux capacitor talking about time. Well, Janus is tied to time. And that got inverted because that's, I believe, is another Mandela effect. Because it used to be an upside down Y, but upside down Y is the death ruin. Now it's the life ruin. We then have Skynet. Janos holding the Y with his counterpart Kybel or Cardio. So all these interesting things are all tied to the Y, and certain points they're like what they call now tags in time that you have to decide which path you have to take. And this Y philosophy is tied obviously in the secrecy in regard to the Tetractys and everything else. Even the Kabbalah have a Tetractys, and theirs spells out is tied to the Tetragrammatron or something. I can't pronounce it just off by heart, off my memory, and it actually spells out, and it actually shows a picture of a man with the letters. So that was with that part. But what I find me interesting is this guy never wrote a book, yet his oral tradition stayed. Why? Because something he is learning them is so important, so secret, they don't want it even in writing. The power of the voice. Yet this guy is still revered today as the father of this, the father of that. He is a lot of things. So we have the why philosophy, and I've done videos on the why, so check out the Black Sheep Researcher on Odyssey. You got the Tetractys, secrets, and all the secrets that went with that. I read that, obviously different names and different meanings. That was interesting. And obviously the link to the pentagram. So some of these secret society symbols are still worshipped and get inverted. And that's why I wanted to show you different things that were different videos that, yep, they mentioned the vowels. Well, I did a video on the vowel shift. The vowels got changed. The vowels are linked to the elements, but also could they be god names or frequencies to heal? So I just wanted to make something different. I mean, even links to, like I said, I've started another video as well as we speak. I don't mind saying that. That's going to be, if I get it done or find a way to put it together to make sense. It's all about the 11s. Because more and more people are asking for information on that. So I want to put something cool together. And Walt Disney was born in 1901, which adds to 11. And he died at 65, which is 11. And obviously, city Chicago is famous for the World Fair. Obviously, that some of that got burnt down, but also the why, so that it connects all the connected. And he does the videos on a secret society called the Brotherhood, the influence of the symbolism, and also the star. He has a star, and that's why I just thought, you know what, I had to put this in about Disney because Pythagoras has the star, the why, and other things, and this guy has got the law. So could he have been in the secret society of the Brotherhood? I think so, because I know he did one himself. He did a Demole, but these people are separate from that, because we always know that the secret societies have ranks and then offshoots and offshoots and offshoots, and I believe this is one of the oldest. That's what history states, and I just found it fascinating and just want to put a new spin on it. And hopefully, guys, you've enjoyed the information, and I've just made you think. And then obviously I learn with some of the comments that I get back. So hopefully you've enjoyed this. I've really enjoyed making it, because a lot of the videos that I've put on my old channel, I look and I think I cringe now. I could have done that better. Well, we're always learning, so I'll remake them as I'm going along, and eventually I'll get everything back onto the to the channel. But if not, I'm always evolving and doing new videos in the meantime. So guys, remember, stay safe, always wear a smile, and I'll see you in the chat. And remember, just pay it forward, do one good deed a day. Bye guys.